Hello, so we're gonna be doing the coin change, right? We're gonna be doing this one here. Okay, so um, there's no way to do it without watching this video. I'm gonna post this video in the description below. Extremely good explanation of how to do it, right? So she's gonna write it out for you, right? And then she's gonna explain exactly how it works. Now, this lady is, in terms of explanation, she's an absolute genius. I mean, she has been probably doing it for a long time. She knows exactly how to do it. The only thing she didn't cover, this is why I'm making this video, is because she didn't cover how to do the first line. And I'm going to do that with you, right? Everything else is literally in the video, right? So I'm gonna link it in the description below, basically, right? Okay, I'm assuming you already watched. So let me pause, go watch the video, figure out the logic, do it yourself. I did it in here, right? Okay. Once you can do it in here, yourself manually, and you are getting the answer that they're looking for, you can come back to this video and we're gonna write the logic together. Okay. So pause. 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming that already this happened, and let's do the logic together. Okay. All right. So what are we going to take? We are going to take let's do this one here. Actually, should we? Yeah, let's do this one here as an example, right? So our n is going to be 3, right? So we're going to go up until 3. So our final answer is going to sit here. And coins are going to be 8, 3, 1, and then 2. So that's going to be our element, and it will go up until index 3. Okay, so naturally the first thing you do is you put ones in here, right? Because that's just, I hope you understood why that is, because there's only one way to make a 0, and that is not to select the coin. Okay, so this is always going to be, the first is going to be always 1, right? So okay, next is yeah, this one is bad example. This one is a bad example because you are gonna get lost. Yeah, you're gonna make the same mistake as I did. So let's pick another one. Let's pick this one here. Yeah. So J goes up until 4. That's our J. Whoops. And coins are 1, 2, 3. Okay, so our answer is going to be here. And we can remove this. Okay, so it's the same thing in here. It's the same thing, right? So in the first, we're gonna do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Okay. So the logic is like this. Shit, maybe I should have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? So if the element, right? So the first condition we're gonna put is I equal to 0? If yes, this is gonna be a temporary array. So at start of every I loop, we're gonna have a temporary array. So you can imagine that this is an array that is temporary, right? So then we're gonna check a condition. If I, right? Oh, so this is gonna be the element, the coin, right? So I'll just call it coin. Okay. So if coin is bigger than I, we're gonna put 0, right? So if coin, because there is no way, there's only one way to make this. So this is amount, basically. I put it as J, but I mean, realistically, this is amount. J, 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 right? Okay. So there's only one way to make a amount out of a coin that is bigger. Oh, there's actually no way to do it. Yeah, so we're gonna return 0, right? Now, if the coin is equal, if coin is smaller or equal to the amount, right? If the coin is smaller or bigger than the amount, we're going to take the amount and do this thing. We're gonna do amount remainder coin, right? If it's equal to 0, it means it can be equally divided into, the coin can be equally divided into the amount. So there is one way to make this amount out of this coin, and that is just to spam this coin. So we're gonna return 1, right? So we're gonna return 1. If there is no way to do it, we're gonna return 0. That's it, right? So in here, there's only one way to make 1, right? So we take amount, just look at the formula, right? Let's just stick to the formula, okay? Look at the formula, right? We take amount, here is the amount, and we divide it by the coin, right? So amount divided by the coin. 1 remainder 1 is gonna give you 0. If it gives us 0, we're gonna return 1, okay? So we're gonna return 1. Now, we move to the next amount, 2. We take amount, right? Remainder by coin, divide by coin. Is 2 remainder 1 equals to 0? Yes. We can return 1. We do the same with 3, okay? 3 remainder 1, that's equal to 0. Yes. We're gonna return 1, right? Same for 4. Amount divide by coin. 4 remainder 1 gives us 0. True. Yes. Return 1. So this line is done, right? So now iteration of I is over. We're going to take this array, right? And we're going to push it into the final array. So we're going to have a final array, which is going to sit here, right? And we're going to take this and we're going to push it into it, right? Now it's important to have this array because we're going to need to reference it when we're going to be doing following these rules, because you have to store this somewhere, because this is one row up, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm probably gonna move this because I'll tell you, you'll see in the end why I moved it in here. Am I recording? Yes, I am. Okay, so now we go through this line here. All right, so we follow the rules that she set out. If the value of the coin is bigger than the amount, so 2 is bigger than the amount, right? We copy the above table, right? So is this bigger than amount? Yes. So we copy the above, 1. Is 2 bigger than the amount? No. So what are we going to do? We're going to take the top amount plus 2 minus coin, right? Amount minus coin gives us 0. And then we're going to look at the number value at index 0 of the amount, which is 1. So we're going to add it like this. Okay. So we'll move on to the next one. Is coin bigger than the amount? No. So we're going to take 1 from the top, add 3 minus 2 gives us 1. So at index 1 in the same row, we're gonna take 1. And then again, is 2 bigger than the amount? No. So we take the top one plus, right, 4 amount minus the coin. 4 minus 2 is 2, and we're gonna take this. Okay. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, I think, right? Man, I probably should have recorded them just to make sure it's correct. Anyway, we'll keep going, right? Okay. Let's go with this thing. Okay, so 3 is amount. If is coin bigger than the amount? Yes, it is. So we copy the top. Is coin bigger than the amount? Yes, so we copy the top. Is coin bigger than the amount? No. So we take the top plus 3 minus 3 is 0 and copy what's in here. So this is 3. And finally, is coin bigger than the amount? No. So we take the top plus amount minus coin gives us 1, and we copy this and add this, right? 4. So let's check. I think this should be 4. That's what they asked for. Let me just return something like 3. Yeah. So as you can see, this is correct, right? So for amount 4 with coins 1, 2, 3, expected output is 4. And that's what we got as well. So we got 4. Okay. Whew. All right. So now we need to write logic for it. The best way to visually do it is to imagine that these are arrays, right? So because you have to remember that we have an array. We have arrays within the array, right? So they're going to be stacked like this inside of our final array, right? So they're going to sit here. So when we're talking about this element here, we're actually talking about final array, because look, our final array is going to look like this. Let me just delete this. I'll put this in here maybe somewhere. Right, so this is what our final array is going to look like. You see, it's it doesn't want to do it because it's hard values, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is what it visually is going to look like if you console log it, right? Because it's an array inside of array. So when we're talking about line, this line here, we're talking about index 1. We're talking about line here, we're talking about index 2, right? And obviously this one is going to be this one, right? That's why I like to draw it out, because it's visually much easier to see it. Whew. Okay, so let's do the logic. Let's do the logic, right? So we're going to be doing N2 and RA2 as well. Okay, whoopsie. My bad. Okay, so the first thing we need is let final is equal to let so, right? And then at the end we want to console log probably final, right? So we can physically see it. Okay, so let's create a first loop, which is going to be for variable I is equal to 0, I plus, oh whoops, smaller than okay, so the first, so I is going to be, let me just put it in here. So this is going to be I, and we're going to be iterating through coins, right? So I should be the length of coins, right? Okay, so the length of coins. So points.length I plus plus. End of for loop I. All right, so I'm gonna make this as 1 because no, because we're gonna be doing it a step by step, right? We're gonna be doing it step by step. So the next thing we need is we need a temp array, right? We need to create a temporary array because remember I told you that this is going to be a temporary array that's going to sit inside the index I, and every time we start the iteration of I, we're going to recreate this array. There's probably a better way of doing it, but I mean, I like to, because these algorithms are so complex, like I try to make it very, very easy to understand. Otherwise, you can just burn out from them, you know. So let temp equals, right? We're going to do array from. Now, array from has a trick where you can put length, right? And length is going to be coins, right? No, not coins. Amount minus 1, right? So n is the amount minus 1. Now, why is it minus 1? I'll tell you why. Because the first element, let me just do this real quick so I can swap between them. Yeah, because the first element is going to be one, right? So we need to add that into the array, temporary array, right? And this should be probably n. Yeah, because we need in total 5. First one is already occupied by 1, so we need this to be 4. Now the second trick is you can populate it with zeros like this, right? I will put minus 1s so you can visually see that the numbers are changing, because you see the problem with putting in zeros, some of them will actually contain zeros, right? Not in this example, but in this example here, for example, it will contain zeros, so it's physically very difficult to see whether the numbers change or not, right? All right, so now we need to add 1 to the start of the array, right? So you can do maybe unshift, but we can do it this way. We can do it this way, basically. We create an array with 1, and then dot, 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 spread the rest of the array. So now that's what we're looking for, okay? So that's our starting point. Now this array is going to get recreated. Remember, it's going to get recreated every time I starts. Now the next thing we want to do, now this is going to be confusing to you because it's not covered in the latest video, but you want to push, actually, do we want to push it? Yeah, like in here what I do is I take final and push temporary array into it, right? So this array is now immediately available in final. Now, of course, what you can do is you can just put the final and without the temp array, but I mean, I just do it with the temp array. It's just easier for me to understand it, right? All right, so now, and then at the end, right, we're gonna have final index of the array, so is equal to temp, right? Because we're going to be doing transformations to the final array in here. The reason why I'm pushing the temp into the final straight away is because I failed some of those tests because it could not read of undefined. This is because it was trying to read final while it was the first line, and it just failed. That's why I had to do it this way, right? But it could be that we don't even need. But okay, so let's solve the first line, right? Let's solve the first line. Oh yeah. We need to put a second iterations. So for wait, we need to create a coin first. Let coin equals ci, right? So yeah, we need to create the coins first. Where are the coins? Yeah. So remember we had to do the whoopsie. Yeah, so remember we had to get the coin, which is sits on I, and then coin comes from the coins that are given to you, right? So it's in here. So coin 1 is gonna be at index 0 is gonna be coin 1, at index 1 coin 2, at index 3 coin 3. Does that make sense? There they are, and that just correlates to the index. Okay, so now we have the coin. Now we want to create this one here, the amount, right? So we're gonna put J into it, right? I'll just call it amount, so you'll be able to see it. For variable amount equals 0. No, we actually start with 1. Do you remember? Because 0 is already preoccupied in a temporary by 1, so we want to start from here. So it's equal to 1, while amount is smaller or equal to, and here we need n. N is the final amount. And then amount plus plus. End of amount for loop. So now we created this. So we're gonna console log amount, so you'll be able to visually see it, right? So console log amount. Okay. So you see now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have to do the first line first. So we do handle line 1, right? So if I equals to 0, we do one thing, else we do a different thing, right? So, and in here we handle all other lines, right? Okay, so, okay. So if I is equal to 0, that means we're in a first line, right? Remember, right? If the coin is bigger than the amount, right, we are going to return 0. For example, if this coin was 8, right, there is no way to make this amount out of a coin that has value of 8. It's physically impossible, right? So we're gonna return 0. So what's the formula? If coin value is bigger than the amount, we're gonna return 0, right? So if coin, remember our coin is in here, right, is bigger than amount, which is the iteration, right, then we want our temporary array. Now this is going to get a little bit confusing because amount is also the index, right? You have to remember that amount is also the index, right? So actually, to avoid confusing you, what I'm going to do is let j equal to amount, right? Because normally people use j as the iteration, right? So we are going to use j instead of amount. So index j, right? So let this index, which correlates to j, will be equal to 0. Now, and if you can look in our final, nothing has changed because if we put 8 in here, then it's going to become all zeros, right? Because there's no way to make amount 4 out of coin 8. There's just no way to do it, right? Okay, so that's the first condition, right? If coin, now, if, so remember the second condition. This is the second condition. If coin, right? If coin is equal or smaller than the amount, right? Well, we can do that way around. If amount is bigger or equal to the coin, right? That's our second condition. If amount is bigger or equal to the coin, right? We want our index at that index, right? So there's going to be this index here, right? J is the index. Remember, I made it for you. I removed the amount so it's not confusing. And then we're simply going to apply this logic here. So if amount remainder of coin equals to 0, that means the coin can be equally divided into the amount. That means there is one way to make that amount out of this coin. So for example, we have coin 1, it divides into 4 equally. We can just take 4 coins of 1 and make that 4. Does that make sense? Now, I know people are going to be confused. It's like, no, there's 4 ways to do it, right? Remember that there's only 4. 1, 1, 1, 1 equals 4, but it counts as one way to make that 4, right? So likewise, 2, 1, 1 is also equal 4. That is another way to do it. So that's another way, right? So yeah, so that's the way. So if it equally divides into, we're going to return 1, else we're going to return 0. Because if you cannot equally divide it into, there's actually no way to do it. So think about it this way. You have a coin of 3 and you want amount 8. There is no way to make 8 out of coins of 3. It's just not possible to do, right? So now as you can see, this is going to become all ones. All right, can you see why -9 is so effective? Because you can physically see the transformations, right? Okay, so the first line is done. I think that's the logic for the first line. All right, so the first line, if we compare, first line should be 5 ones, right? So we have 5 ones. All right, now let's move to the next iteration. So next iteration should give us 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, right? So that's what should be in the final, right? Yeah, so you see it already pushed the temporary array into it, so it's kind of like mumbo jumbo right now. So now let's do the transformation. All right, so let's console log to make sure that we are here. All right, perfect. All right, so now we have entered other rows. So we handled line 1, right, which is now we are simply following what the lady described in the video. We are just following these rules, and that's it. Okay, so what are the rules again? Shit, I already forgot. Okay, so if coin, I think it's like this. If coin is bigger than the amount, we copy the above value. Okay, so let's just do that, right? If coin is bigger than the amount, our temporary j, so that's going to be our index, right? Remember the index, right? It's going to be equal to. Now, here is why. Now you understand why. Now I'll show you why you have to kind of push your temporary array into final straight away, because now we have to use the final array, because we need to access the final array, right? And we want to go one level up, right? So remember, right now we're here. We want to go one level up, which is going to be I minus 1. And this here lives inside the final array. So we have to go whatever the index is in here minus 1 inside the final array, and we have access to this array now. All right, so it's final I minus 1, right? And now we need the index that we're in, right? So it's going to be 1. Well, it's going to be whichever j is, that's what we need. We basically want to access final array minus 1 index, so we go here and copy the j from it, right? So that's what we're doing. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete, so you'll be able to physically see what we're doing. So remember, we are comparing, is coin bigger than the amount? Yes, it is. So we want to copy this index here. So how do we do it? How do we do it? We access we go one level up, and this array sits in final. So we do final index minus 1, and then we take the j from it. Okay? So that's exactly what we did. We did final index minus 1, and we take the j from it. So you see now this one has been copied. Okay, so we move on to the next one. Is coin bigger than the amount? So in this case, no. So we need to create logic for this as well. Well, actually, we can do else, to be honest with you, because there is no other condition outside of that. Because it's either coin is bigger. Well, anyway, I'll do it for you so you will understand, right? If amount is bigger or equal to coin, right? What do we want to do? What do you want to do? So in this condition, we want to copy the top, right? We again want to kind of do similar operation. We want to copy the top and well, let's do copy the top first, right? Let's do copy the top first part. Temp j, right, is equal to final. It's basically this code here, to be honest with you. You can just copy and paste it. Minus 1, because we're copying from the above, right? Plus, now, that's going to get, okay. So we copied from the above, right? Plus, now we need to compare. Now we need to compare. Amount minus coin gives us the index in our current temporary array from where we need to copy the value from. So 2 amount minus coin gives us 0. So we need to copy this index here from the temporary array. So we copy it like this. Okay? Right? So we remember we're using temporary array, right? We're gonna have amount minus coin. All right. So now we should have 1 1 2 2 3, right? So now we have 1 1 2 2 3. So it's already pre-populated for us, right? And then that's it. That's your solution, right? So now we put our third iteration, which is going to be our final one, right? And then we're going to have 1 1 2 3 4, right? So this is our answer. 4 is our answer. You see, so it's already done because we put in correct logic. So now we just need to change this to length coins.length. All right. I think it should be minus plus one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now we just need to extract this value from here. So let all done equals final final.length, right? So we need to get this array here, which is going to be length minus one, I think. Yes, and we need to get final index from it, right? So this is going to be, so this length is going to be, let me just double check. So this should be the length of the amounts, right? So it will be amount, yeah. So it will be basically amount, right? And amount is our n number, right? So I think it will be either n or n minus one. N, yeah, it's gonna be basically n. And then we just want to return all done. That's it. I think this should work with the console logs. Normally you want to remove the console logs because otherwise it's gonna stop. It's going to basically, it's gonna take too long. Okay, so your output is undefined. All right, so it could be n minus one, honestly. So both tests fail because it's undefined. Do they want us to console log it? No, I don't think so. It shouldn't be the case. Let me just double check. Maybe not final, maybe C that length. Let me just try C. Okay, so I need to figure out what the problem is. Why is it not outputting? So it's failing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so okay, so why is it? Like I'm getting an answer. I don't understand why it's not getting an answer. Maybe if I just copy the whole thing. Maybe this way. But I think, oh, interesting. Now, normally, interesting. Yeah, it happened to me when I did it the first time as well, and I still don't understand why this happens because there is almost no difference between the code. Because I just copied what's inside the. Why is that? Why is it? Why is it trolling like that? Anyway, guys, like this means just doing experiments. So I mean, you kind of finished at this stage, right? So well done, right? Well done. Now, congratulations. I mean, this is some heavy stuff, and you are keeping going. That means you got some hustle, right? You're gonna do great in life. So just keep going, right? And I mean, week 9, you're almost there. There's 4 weeks left. So all is good. Well done. Take care. Bye bye.